Yay. Welcome to the Red Hot Audience Boot Camp, day 2. I'm so excited because I really dork out on messaging, and it's like the thing that I feel like sets the people apart. And I'm so excited for this challenge, and thank you guys for everybody who participated yesterday. I hope you got a lot out of it. One thing I forgot to do was really introduce myself for those of you who might be new to me. I know there was like a lot of new people who came in through social media and how I was advertising the event. But I'm Cassie MacKenzie. I am a sales coach for coaches and consultants. I live in Florida with my kids and my husband. And I used to work in pharmaceutical sales for about 20 years and then became a coach for about 3 years. So I've blended both of those to teach you how to sell out your offers online and attract leads and do it in a way that feels good without it feeling like salesy, because I am definitely not salesy. In fact, I watched that movie Spirit with Ryan Reynolds, and I was like, oh my God, or Spirited. And I was like, he's such a good salesperson. I wish I could be like like, you know, it's a skill, I guess, right? But like I like to teach it in a way that's non-salesy, that's like, relationship based, that positions you more of a consultant so that you can have more loyal clients, because it takes a whole lot less energy to sell to an existing client than it does to acquire new ones. So today, though, I really want to help you acquire some new ones. And for those of you guys who are coming live, I've been keeping track of who all has been able to make it live, and I have some special giveaways to do at the end of the week that are going to be fun. They'll give you like, discount, not discount, but like it's like kind of like virtual cash to use towards any offers and ways to work together, as well as there's a couple other fun things that I have up my sleeve. But this is such an important topic today. I want to go ahead and dive in because there, like, I remember sitting in a like a pharmaceutical, we had a launch meeting. This was like 20 years ago, and I remember sitting there, and our VP of sales was up there talking to us on like a Thursday morning about what's going to set us apart from our competitors, because Amgen was coming out with a product that was going to be the first competitor for us in ever. Like, it was like 10 years that our product had been on the market. And so Amgen's a very aggressive company. They're, biotech company. Even back then, they made a name for themselves in the oncology space. And so it was really important for us to nail down like just the basics of the selling skills, to position ourselves to the right person with the right message and in the right frequency. And so, as somebody, though, who has all the manifestation background, when I hear the right frequency, I see that that has two meanings, So it could be like the right number of times you're saying your message to the right person. I think that's the way my sales leader thought, he was saying it. But for me, I also see it as the right energetic frequency, your confidence behind it too. And I'm going to dive into that on Thursday. But today we're going to focus. Yesterday we did the right person, right? Like making sure that your niche is really clear, so that you are positioning yourself more as a specialist and not as a generalist. And then today we're going to add on to that with the right message, because you really get to decide who you want to work with. And that's why I decided to start out yesterday. One of the first questions was, who is this not for? Because a lot of people, when they go to sell an offer, are like, oh, well, nobody's buying it, or they keep coming and saying they don't have the money or they don't have the time. And so if that's what you don't want, then let's turn that into things that you do want. So the opposite of that would be like the person who can find the time to get the result because they know that it's worth it, right? And so also the person who's willing to be resourceful and see it as a priority to solve the problem. So I'm going to get into this and go ahead and share my screen, because like I said, Paul, you saw this on Friday because you were in the my presentation inside the mastermind. But you can have the best offer in the world, but it can't sell if the right people don't know about it, right? And so yesterday, I really impressed upon you to get super serious about the right person and who it is, and don't be afraid to leave people out, because the right people won't feel left out. They're still going to be attracted to you, even if they might not be that teeny tiny niche, right? Does that make sense? But really, you want to stand out from the crowd, and that's by niching into a certain type of person. And I covered that yesterday, so if you didn't see yesterday, go back and see it. But when you're talking about the right person and the right message, the right messaging is going to speak to the people who see it as a priority to fix the problem, because there's two types of people. And it's funny, I was planning to talk about this already today, but I saw another post from another leading expert on like content and stuff like that talk about this similar topic today. And it was so interesting to me, because I was like, damn, if that isn't a confirmation, right? Because I'm like, I was just about to say all that too. But it's so true, right? So you're going to have the people who think your offer is a nice to have versus a need to have. It's just like some things are nice to say or nice to know versus a need to know, right? And so the ones who need to have your offer are the ones who woke up this morning thinking, I'm so sick of having this problem. I'm so sick of not having any man friends. I'm so sick of not having a partner. I'm so sick of not having any social proof or any way to show like how great I am with my clients. I have no idea how to do that, right? And so these are real problems that people have. And the ones who have the money to invest are in one side too, right? And then there's also, like, in my opinion, you can always find the money to invest. I will say, I'll put myself out there. I was unemployed for, when I first started my business, right? I didn't have that money coming in. We had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. My husband was making half of what my previous job was. So times were tough. The pandemic came, and seriously, like, I found the money, I found the resources, I did what I needed to do to get the answers that I needed to have. And there's countless stories of other people who have done the same. And that's when my business started to bring in $10,000 and $15,000, in a week. Okay. So that's when I learned like a lot of the energetic strategy, things that I'm going to tell you about on Thursday. But really, like, the point of that story is that these people in your audience, they are there. There are people there who know they have a problem and they're not apathetic about it. And then they also have the money to invest, and they're willing to be resourceful if they can't find it right now, right? So what you don't, like Tony Robbins always says, you don't need to have more resources, you need to be more resourceful. And that's what success is about, right? So you want to speak to those people, and you want your message to really speak to those people who are willing to be resourceful. They're willing to find the money if they don't have it in their, account right now. They're willing to like do what it needs to be done to go big, because there's no other option, right? And those are the people out there. And so your message is literally going to be the difference between somebody saying hell yeah, or somebody saying, let me think about it and keep scrolling. And that's like just the hard truth. And I see so much fluffy freaking messaging out there that I'm like, this could be so good, like cue the Adele song, right? Like, but here, and so that's what we want to get into today, because when you want to get specific, you wanted to get specific down to the problems they're currently facing. This is why, and then offer solutions, obviously, to help them, get them dreaming about what their life could be like. But this is why yesterday was so important, because all right, I'll tell a story. I've had clients who were manifestation coaches, for example. I was one before. My messaging was fluffy AF. Like it was, let me let Chastity in. My messaging was so fluffy because it was like, oh, manifest your best life. Like, have the life of your dreams, like manifest the business of your dreams. Like that could mean something entirely different to one person than the other, And if you can really niche down and you can get an idea of that one person that you're talking to, then you can really get an idea of what is their life possibly like. For example, if somebody wanted to sell me something that could get me as a mom of two living by the beach, like having a great vacation, not, having stuff for my kids to do while I could still do my work on the side, right? Like there's different resorts that could market to me as a mom who also would bring my laptop and be able to get work done if I was deciding to work on my on not vacation, but on a trip away. Does that make sense? Versus just being like, come and enjoy the nice tropical, you know, environment, right? Like that doesn't exactly speak to me because I live in the tropics already. Like you got to be pretty impressive and give me a real reason to go there. And trust me, I'll go there. So here's the thing I want you to really think about, is your messaging really speaking to that person and their desires? All right. Because what I see online a lot of times, what a lot of people do is they speak to the features and not the benefits. Okay. They speak to like, and also the other thing I see people do is like they'll speak to like the non-ideal client. Like if you really want people who have money, and I don't mean like just rich people, like you can't help everybody, right? I'm just saying the people who are willing to find the resources and find the time to invest, because it's an investment, it's a real business, right? At least my clients, like they have a business. You want to make sales, so you got to look at it like a business and not like it's just money spent. It's money invested in yourself that comes back tenfold if you believe it, right? And so when what I see a lot of people do though is they'll start speaking to the ones who are saying no, trying to convince them. So make sure that your messaging is not only clear enough to state the problems that your ideal client is going through, not just anybody out there, but who's the ideal one, right? Who's the ideal person who doesn't mind showing up at 2 a.m. their time in Thailand to attend a call with you here in America or with you there in Europe, because they know it's worth it, that the time of the call doesn't matter, right? They're so bought into the result that they're going to get and the transformation that they're going to get in your program that they don't care what time of night they have to wake up and do it, because you have convinced them, not convinced, but you know what I mean, that word just came out, but like they know without a shadow of a doubt that you're their person, because that result that you've painted for them and the benefits to their life, what your time you're saving them, the money you're saving them, the happiness you're bringing them, the fun you're bringing them, the joy, like whatever the case may be, the peace of mind, right? The confidence, like whatever it is, those tangible results and intangible results are going to be the thing that gets them emotionally connected to say like nothing else matters. I've got to hire Paul, I've got to hire Dennis there. He's the one that can help me because he can free up all my freaking time and help me stand out as somebody to hire, right? Drop me a yes in the chat if you're tracking with this. If and feel free to put your messaging in there and we can take a look at it, okay? And I'd also love to know, like, because I just went through a whole lot, like what questions are coming up right now around this topic and what we've covered so far. Because I'm going to give you some examples of some fluffy versus like more locked tight content too in a minute, but I just want to take a second to check in. Yes. Okay, cool. Let me just move my chat over here. Okay. So here's a great way when you speak to your ideal client. Again, make sure these are the ones who are ready right now and they don't need to be convinced, right? This person woke up today with that exact problem that you solved. It's not that they're going to wake up later in life, like not tomorrow, not next year. Like I spoke to one person in the DMs the other day who was saying, well, I'm still building I'm still making my audience aware of the problem that they're having. And I'm like, well, that's great and all, but that's not the ones who are ready right now, right? Like Chastity, she is starting a business to help women who are perimenopausal, right? So is she going to sit there and create content all day long for some 29-year-old clubbing chick from New Jersey who isn't going to be in perimenopause for another 12 years just to make her aware of what she's going to go through? No, hell no. She's going to talk to people in their 40s that are like, hey, have you noticed that you're gaining a little more weight around the tummy? Like, and that you just want to like lose your shit with your husband all the time, even more than ever, or like all the whatever symptoms they'd be going through or habits they'd be seeing. And like, you don't have to live the way that all these other people who are over 40 telling you that now's the time to cut your hair short and go frumpy. Like, no, you don't have to do that shit. Like, that's crazy talk. So, you don't need to make people aware of the problem that they're going to have. You need to speak to the one that knows they have a problem and say, I have a solution for you. Does that make sense? Drop me a yes in the chat if that clears it up. Okay. Chastity says we need to include a pain point and desires. Yes, I'm going to get to that for the framework for how to easily do this. Now, when you're talking about like if you're on Insta, I don't know, tell me if you guys are on Insta story. You can raise your hand if you guys do anything on Instagram. No, just on LinkedIn, pretty much. I'm okay. Chastity's on Insta story. Okay, cool. I started on Instagram and like it's like one of those like old high school boyfriends that you just can't let go of. You're like, oh, but yeah. You know what I mean? Anyway, I love LinkedIn though. LinkedIn is like husband material, like for sure. So I'm going to get to that. But like when you were talking about in your content, and tomorrow we're going to dive really like fun. We're going to get content. It's going to make it fun. You're going to know exactly what to do, be able to take action and start like bringing people in. But I really want to lock down these two things first. But you want to make sure you're focusing on one problem at a time in your content though. You don't, and that's just so that you can really stand out, okay? That your message is super clear, it's speaking exactly to that person, and then the next piece of content can speak to a different problem, right? So like for example, if I have like my get known factors are around, I speak a lot about lead generation, about selling skills, and then about the energetics, like the confidence, the mindset, the stepping up as a leader, like the before and after of how I got there, right? And so when when I'm talking about a specific piece of content, I'm focusing on one problem at a time, like one pain point, one problem that they're having, and getting them to create a vision around that desire. Like it could be, for instance, content, right? Or it could be something around a DM. Like if you notice some of my videos, I'm talking about, even get niched down my content so far to be like, here, I'm gonna teach you about how to open up a DM, like a how to open up a conversation, or I teach you about like just the listening component and making people feel seen and heard. Does that make sense? So if people are like, well, I don't know why they're, Chastity, do you have a question, or you were just raising your hand about the Instagram? Okay, I just want to make sure. Does that make sense? Does that help answer your question? Good. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go. Yes. Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you. Now I want to go into showing here, let me see what this one. So this is where, when you want to make your messaging magnetic and you want to make it so this is where it's like selling for you in your sleep, where people land on your content, they know that what they're going to get, right? And they become obsessed with it because, and here's the other part. I'm being called to say this. Don't worry about saying the same things over and over and over again. You want to do that. Like you want your content to be, and you want your message to be repeatable. You want your message to have that same theme going on around the 1 to 2 to 3 main results and solutions that they get from working with you. Does that make sense? Drop me a yes if that makes sense. Because what I see a lot of people do is they'll just put maybe one that's super fluffy, or they'll put like a whole bunch of shit that people have to read through. And if people start to get confused, then confused people aren't going to buy. All right. The other thing you want to do is speak to the wants of what they want, but not necessarily what they need to do. Okay. And I'll give you an example of this right now, because I had let's see, speaking of, so like a lot of times for example, like in my Sales Queen Takeover, you want to feel confident selling in the DMs, right? Like what you want is to be able to confidently send out a DM to somebody that you don't know, that maybe you just connected with, without looking like a skeezy weirdo, right? Am I right? Without being like, and also if they don't reply, you want to do it without feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to be rejected by everybody, right? So I will sell you that because I know that's what you want. But deep down, I know that what you need is a process to follow. You need to know how to easily build rapport. You need to know how to keep your energy, like that energetic point of attraction, your confidence, like the vibe. You need to keep that steady to see everything to the finish line, right? But if I said that in my content, like, I'm going to teach you, like, you're only going to, like, if I'm like, you're only going to get the process, I'm going to teach you this process on how to make a sales call. You could learn that in a book, right? But it doesn't mean that you're going to feel confident doing it. Does that make sense? So, but what I'm going to sell you in my content is, here's how I started to feel more confident in starting DM conversations. Because to be honest, even though, and this is how much I get in my own head, and I love sharing this because I know it might help you feel better about yourself too. If you're wondering, like, holy shit, I'm not a salesperson. How am I going to know how to do this? Like, when I first started out, I told myself, well, I have no idea how to do DM sales or in like outbound sales. Are you kidding me? Y'all, I spent 20 years making calls on pharmaceutical, like on doctor's offices, right? I wasn't invited there every time. I was lucky to not get kicked out. That was like the goal, right? So I literally was doing outbound sales for 20 years, but something in my mind told me, you don't know how to do that, until, because I was reading people's content that was telling me, here, this is what you don't know how to do and how you need to learn how to do this, right? It's convincing as crap, right? So, that's what you got to know how to sell. You got to know how to sell the right, like, result in the right, um like, solution to the problem that they're having. But once I wised up and got to my senses and realized, holy crap, like, yeah, this is exactly what I've been doing, then now I'm like, okay, I've been doing outbound sales for 20 years, so I know exactly what I'm doing. I know exactly what you need, and that's why I sell that in my calls to action, right? Now, if you are unsure if your results are clear and concise and tangible versus being more long-winded, right? Because your messaging points want to be that result. They want to get what they're personally going to get out of it, the problem that's being solved, right? If you want to know, then call up your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad right now or later today. And you want to ask yourself, like, would they understand if they have no, like, call somebody up who has no idea, who's not in the coaching industry, who isn't really online or investing in coaching and things like that. Like, they're not exposed to this side of life, like my mom, right? If I called her up right now, one question I ask myself is, would she understand what to expect after finishing my program? Or would she, like, need a search party to figure it out? You know what I mean? So if it's too fluffy, then just anybody, like, it needs to be so concise that it's like a no-brainer as to what you're going to get out of it, right? It's not the time to, like, reinvent the wheel. Okay? So for example, if I gave you an example again, like, and please go ahead, like, if you want, you can drop in your messaging into the chat and I can help you refine that. Also, if you're in the Voxer group, we can work on that too, because I know that, that's it's been fun, the conversations we're having in there already. But here, like, for example, in with my Sales Queen Takeover, this is my mastermind that's starting at the end of this month. If I was focusing on the features, which a lot of people do, like the number of calls or the number of modules, or if you're selling your one-on-one coaching, a lot of people are like, well, it comes with 12 calls over 3 months, and then it's like however many $1,000, but like people aren't going to buy it. They don't care how many calls. They want to know what they're going to get out of it. They want to know that transformation and like the result of how their life's going to be different on the other side of working with you. Okay. They want to know if you, like, how's their life going to look different? Like, what's their day-to-day going to be? What's going to change as a result of you guys working together? How's it going to be easier, more fun, more profitable? And like, because honestly, the three main needs that people have, like offers that are put out, it's either like get paid, get laid, or live forever, right? So like the three main offers that are put out are like things that help make you money, things that help you get, like your relationship, or things that make you more healthy. Okay. Those are usually like the three buckets of types of offers that are out there. So make sure that the results there are clear and concise on how it would change the person's life in one of those areas, right? Now, I'm going to give you another example of like I started to give you with my Sales Queen Takeover. So if I was focused just on features and this was my messaging, which would be kind of fluffy or just not really impactful, then I would say something like, like you get a selling simulation every single week in my Sales Queen Takeover. And I'm also adding like a mindset reset call every other week too. Like, be like, that's great. Perfect. Good for you. Congratulations. Right. But that's just a feature. Like, that's just the feature. And the features will tell whereas the benefits are going to sell for you. So the benefit instead, if I'm telling you really, what is that going to do for you? It would be more like you're going to learn the easy ways to open up conversations in the DMs with your ideal clients. And so you can close more sales in the DMs confidently. And you're also going to rewire your mind for abundance versus scarcity, so it doesn't hold you back from taking that action that you're really meant to take every day, And so that's the result you would get from that mindset reset call that we would have. And that's, and the other result is the result, like learning how to sell in the DMs easily and confidently, is the result that you would get from having a selling simulation with me sitting here with you, being like going back and forth and giving you suggestions on, here's what to say in this situation. Here's how you could verbalize it here, and how helping you to create your own selling style so that it sounds more like you and it's not off of a script, right? I've tried selling off scripts and I really, really suck at it. Like, it's just not the vibe. And I don't feel like you need to do it either. Okay. But drop me a yes if you're tracking with this. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. So you can drop me, any questions you might have. Cassidy says yes. Okay. So again, speak to the wants, not the needs, speak to the benefits, not the features. And most importantly, speak to that ideal client who's ready right now. Keep dropping the bombs. Okay, you got it. Thank you, Dennis. Okay, so here, Chastity, you were asking earlier, what kind of framework do we have? Or you didn't really ask that, but I answered that, right? Here's how I would recommend that you structure your call to action. You might hear it called CTA. I recommend that you have some sort of CTA at the end of every single post. And we can talk about this tomorrow when we talk about content. But I feel like it's something that you just can't say enough, right? And a call to action is asking your audience, once they read your post or listen to your video or see you on Instagram, or when you're wrapping up a conversation in the DMs, even, you want to give them a way to take action, take that next step, right? So if you're tired of this problem, like if you're tired of getting ghosted in the DMs, and you want this solution, and you want to have more conversations that lead to sales calls, or more conversations that lead to sales, like take out the calls, just leave the sales, right? I personally am moving into a season of no more sales calls personally, and just closing the DMs because it's easier. In my opinion, I feel like you can get a whole lot done faster in the DMs, and that a lot of times you don't even need a sales call and they're a complete waste of time unless you're looking for more market research. Because they can be super useful for that and for getting to know people. Yes. But if you are beyond the market research stance or side of things, and you are, you're really super clear on who you're talking to, and you're just at that point where you're ready to close sales, then selling in the DMs to me is a lot easier than hopping on sales calls. I'm just saying. Okay. And it's the same, and it's a similar process. There's nuances to it. Outbound is a little bit of a longer game than the inbound, but like when you have inbound leads, it can be so much easier to close them that way. So putting that little nugget out there. But if with your, when you wrap up that CTA, then you would say something like, then DM me, and I put info here. You can choose whatever word you want, and it doesn't have to stay the same. You just have to know what they're like looking for when they message it to you. Like I've done this before where like on like on my podcast, it was like, message me sales if you want this. And I had a webinar, it was like, message me this stuff. Like I was like, oh wait, what did I say I'd give to them? I had to like make a cheat sheet because like one thing was like for a ebook or something. So my point of this is just keep track of what it is that you're selling. If you're selling multiple things and you're giving multiple keywords in your CTAs, then just keep track of what they are. But a lot of times in the DMs, I have a question or two that I ask anyway, even when people send me a keyword, so we can easily figure that out anyway. But to go to the top. So if you're tired of X and you want Y, and you're ready for Y, then DM me info so you can finally have and insert the big result that you sell, right? Here's what I put on my post last night. Let's see. Thank you for sharing this. All right. Okay. Chastity, your habits and self-confident coach. I have a PDF of meals I use to help me lose over 50 pounds in 7 months. If you would like me to send it to you, just DM me meal plan. I also have a 12-week program where I can help you create some new habits and get back to your self-confidence. DM me program and we'll set up a time to talk. Awesome. Okay. Couple of things. Thank you for sharing that. And I love it. I love it. I feel like any CTA is better than no CTA, right? So can I give a couple of suggestions? Would you mind if I give a couple of suggestions? I'm sure you'll say yes. Yes, yay. See, I am psychic, right? All right. Really am. But okay. So I would say with your posts, I would recommend one call to action at a time. Now, what I've also done, so like if I was promoting this event, for example, and it's really hard for me to do this because I break my own rules all the time, but like I would just put the thing about the freebie or the opt-in at the bottom of the main post so that your post is just leading them to take one action. Because if you're leading them to make decisions about which action to take, then sometimes it can be like, well, which one should I do? You know what I mean? Another thing though that I've done is make a post and then I also leave a comment at the bottom and say, if you'd prefer to speak to me directly, then book a call here, right? Or something like that. Otherwise, I would maybe say, I would choose one or the other, and maybe you can even alternate them on different pieces of content. And then I'm so glad you put this, because what I really love to do is dive in and get super specific on the results, right? Because like I said, it's so important for somebody to feel seen and heard. And I want you to explore a little bit, Chastity. Let's see, create some new habits. Okay. What types of new habits would your ideal client be creating, right? What are these things? And not necessarily the things that they need, but what are the habits that they want, right? What is the things that they want after working with you? All right. And even saying I want more confidence might be a little fluffy. I want to know, like, in what ways will this confidence show up in their life? All right. What are the things that you're going to love working with them on that this confidence is going to show up in their life? Right. So, if, for example, if it's creating new habits around food, then are they going to feel more comfortable in a bathing suit on vacation? Right. And what kind of timeline could we possibly do? Like, if you're working with them for 12 weeks, then that's 3 months. So you could feasibly say 3 months from now is June. So I have a 12-week program where, we could have you feeling confident in a bathing suit by the time you're on the beach in June, right? Or feeling confident, buying a whole new wardrobe even, you know what I mean? Like whatever, the whole new vacation wardrobe for, going out on the town or whatever it looks like. I don't know. I'm just speaking from when I actually used to go out on the town before I had kids in life. But like, you know, what are the things that they'd be doing? Like, what is this confidence going to give them or how's it going to show up in their life, I should say? Does that make sense? Let me see. 3 new messages. Yes, hopefully to lose weight, eating better, increasing movement. Okay, so what is eating better going to give them? How is that going to look like in their life, right? So, for example, eating better might mean like, you can move easier, like you can you don't feel winded exercising even, increasing movement and exercise, lifestyle change. Yeah. So what are the lifestyle changes specifically? If you could come up just to paint the picture, right? Like painting the picture of what their life is actually going to look like. Because if I say, you'll have lifestyle changes, like it's not enough for me to want to click on it. But if you tell me that like let's see, what kind of lifestyle, like I'm going to be able to sleep so good it felt like I slept for a year, right? I'll finally have, and I can't speak for your people, but you know them better than I do, I guess I should say. But like specifically, how will it show up in their life? What kind of actions will they be taking after working with you that they wouldn't be taking today before working with you? Like if I were thinking back to the times where I was selling like a money manifestation course, it would be like, I could say you're going to make more money, or I could say you'll finally have extra money to go to Fiji. And they even get as specific as saying Fiji, right? Maybe the person looking at my content doesn't want to go to Fiji, but they're like, oh, I could have vacation money to go to Puerto Rico, or I could, finally get one of those, or even into like, you could finally stay in one of those overwater bungalows you've been dreaming about. It really paints a picture. It gets them there. It evokes that feeling of like, oh, like even me saying that gave me tingles, right? So what is like some of the things that if you were to just say it to them, that it would give them tingles too? Does that make sense? So what's another one? Like with the money, it could be you'd start like seeing money build up in your bank account instead of feeling it draining out every month, right? You feel like you could, have your summers on a boat instead of sitting there watching Below Deck, living vicariously. So, let me see. So how will they feel? What are these lifestyle changes that are going to evoke that feeling of like, holy shit, I should have done this 6 months ago, you know? And add one or two of those in the CTA. Like if you're tired of feeling winded getting up off the couch and you want to find energy to, I don't know, blah 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 blah, then DM me info so that you can finally, have and paint the picture there. I don't know. Does that make sense? Like if you're tired of being broke and you want to see the money stacking in your account every day, then DM me money so you can finally have that overwater bungalow in Fiji that you've been dreaming about, you know? Getting really specific there gets you to dream, gets you to go there. Love that. That's from my LinkedIn bio. Let me click. Hopefully LinkedIn lets me click on the screenshot. Oh yeah, it does. Okay, let's see what we got here. What if you could show the amazing transformations you've achieved and build a stronger reputation for what you can do, attract more of your ideal prospects, convert them faster with less selling and convincing, and grow your impact, your community, and your revenue? You know the secret now, and I can help you achieve it with astonishing results. I love it. Reach out and let's talk about making video testimonials the envy of your competition. Okay, cool. Now, I love it. I love where you're going with this. And I feel like you can even add in more specific things here too, right? You can say like even like showing how you've changed, how your clients' lives have transformed by working with you, or finally stand, not feel like the best kept secret on the internet anymore, like finally stands out as, look like an expert to hire to your ideal prospects. And like, is there anything even more specific that you can drill down with that on these? And I would say, and also, you didn't actually give them the secret. Instead of saying, the secret now, you could say, the secret to this is video testimonials. See what I'm saying? And I can help get you there. Or, I can help you. What's the astonishing result? That's what I want you to really paint the picture there. I can help you achieve it with astonishing results. Like we said in the Voxer, do you have any kind of data there that shows what, in what ways did it increase the revenue for your clients? In what ways did your clients double, triple, 10x their referral rate, right? Or new inbound leads once they started doing video testimonials? And also, it's something that could be like a content creation thing, save them time with the content creation. People should use testimonial. I mean, I say people, I mean myself. I should use my own testimonials more often, you know? Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? I love it. Thank you so much for sharing these. Is there any, it's one new message. Brilliant. Okay. Yay. Okay. Because I would also say, let's talk about making your videos at MD or competition. So like, it's not so much about, like, it would be about like making them stand apart from helping them rise up and stand apart from their competition, like your client would. Not so like the video testimonial would help them do it, not necessarily like the video testimonial is standing apart. Does that make sense? I've only had 2 cups of green tea this morning, and our dog woke us up at 4 in the morning. I don't know where my head's at by not pumping myself with caffeine, but I'm just making sure that what I'm saying is coming out clear. Oh, our poor dog. Okay. Yay. Okay, cool. Thank you, Dennis. Awesome. Thank you all so much for sharing this. Can you tell that I love doing this? And I love it. Now, like I said, and we're going to talk about this a little bit tomorrow, but I just want to impress on you, make sure that you're creating this message with that one person in mind. All right. And I know it's hard to not allow yourself to branch out into more people, but the branching will happen naturally. The right people are always going to see it. They don't necessarily have to be that one person who wants to go to Fiji in an overwater bungalow. But I'm guessing, Chastity, let me just ask you, when I said that, did it get you thinking about maybe not that bungalow, but maybe some other vacation where you're like, damn, I'd like to do that too, So it doesn't mean that I'm cutting you out. I'm just getting you to dream, getting you to think about something outside of the cubicle that you're sitting in right now. Oh, I want to go to Bali. See? Look, and it got you thinking, damn, if I get my shit together with all of this, then I can go to Bali. You know what I mean? Like it's all like this, and it's magnetic. This is why it's magnetic. It gets people to dream. It evokes the emotion. And I'm not a proponent of evoking all the emotions from getting people to feel the pain, because people have the two motivators, right? Either they move away from the pain of their current situation, or they move towards the pleasure of what their life could be like if they didn't have the problem that they have. So I am such a proponent of, maybe mentioning the one piece of pain that they're going through, right? Like you've been posting content every single freaking day and you haven't gotten one inbound lead and you're wondering what the hell is wrong with you, right? But then going immediately into, let's see what you could be like instead. Imagine if you could dream and have X, Y, Z. And we're going to go into this tomorrow, but that's where your messaging is going to get them to dream and take action, right? You're going to get them to be specific so that it lights them up and lights something up in them so that then they turn around and say, okay, yes, Cassie, I need you right now. I need you right now. Okay. All righty. So, tomorrow, what we're going to be doing is getting people pre-sold with your content, becoming that client magnet, putting all of this all together so you can feel confident selling. And oh, there's my wildfire factor. Whee! Okay. Now, one thing I did want to mention is, I know I mentioned the Sales Queen Takeover earlier. This is my program. It's a mastermind that I'm starting at the end of the month. And this is going to be such a fun program, but it's a way for you to really understand how to do the inbound and outbound leads, like sell in the DM, so that you don't have to hop on sales calls. You don't have to worry about getting ghosted anymore. You can actually feel confident selling. And this is a skill that once you have, and once you have it down, you can do it anywhere on any platform. And once you learn how to sell and really make your messaging impactful, you can start adding things that'll help you sell in your sleep. Okay. And it's a skill that I feel like a lot of people put last when it should be put first, because it's something that is constantly going to create this wildfire factor for you. And I would love to be your guide to do that. So, some of the logistical parts of it, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be doing weekly calls where, at first we're going to be recording it all live, and then the content bank's going to be there. So you're going to learn live with me about, how to really attract the right leads, and then also get deep into selling them and practice that with me. So you're going to be able to show me the DM conversations you're having, so we can tweak them and start to convert them. So like those moments where you're like, okay, now how do I go from having a great conversation with somebody to now starting to ask them questions about their business without looking like a total freak? Believe me, I know, I've been there, and it sucks, right? Because you're like, holy shit, like where do I go from here? But it's so easy. Like once you get it and you know what questions to ask and you know how to ask them and you practice asking them, then it makes you feel so much more confident and you start to close so many more sales. So, and that's my goal for you. Now, like I said, those are the weekly calls. Right now, it's a 4-month program, because I believe that you need some time to get going with, and like with becoming an expert online. I feel like you can do that in under 30 days, like start having the inbound leads coming through and closing them in under 30 days. So that's one of the goals of the program. And if you were to join this program by the end of this week, then I'm going to give you 5 months in it for free. So, well, not 5 for free. I'll give you an extra month. That came out wrong. Ooh, I'm glad I caught that. Okay, so if you're interested, you want to know more, then just reach out to me. Excuse me, and we can talk about that. And I'll be giving you more, details about other things as the week goes on. But that's the main deal going on right now. And I'm so excited for this opportunity. I'm so excited to help you guys grow in this 4 days together too here. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. And if you're in the Voxer group, you know where I am, right? Ooh, I got some messages here. So that's the end. Before I wrap up, do you have any questions at all? Feel free to drop in. Bye, Paul. Thanks for joining. Any questions at all? Are you all good for today? Let me stop the share. Okay. All righty, guys. I will. How often do you touch on the pain points? I would say you choose at least one to talk about each piece of content. All right. So like you choose one thing that they're going through, and you create your piece of content around that. And we're going to dive into that some tomorrow too. And then you give them the solutions and get them to dream, and then have your CTA that calls to action. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. But that's why yesterday when I said, what are the problems that they're having? Like list 3 to 5 problems that they're having that are specific burning problems that they really need to get fixed, right? And because those are the ones you're going to talk about in your content, and that's how you're really going to speak to them in the messaging too. So, okay. Does that make sense? Okay, got it. Yay. All righty. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm so glad to see you here live, and I will see you tomorrow again, right at 10. 10, is that cool? Sound good? All righty. I might on Thursday, I might have to change the time a little bit because there's something I might have to go to with my kids. But if I do, I'll let you know by tomorrow so that you'll have enough, and possibly later, even today, like this afternoon. I might put it in the email that goes out, but I don't know yet for sure. All right.